let's get started. Right, today we're going to talk about te form. Verbs te form. Verbs te form. But let's get a little bit back to what we just did last time. We talked about 5 ways of and in Japanese, how you can say and when you're talking in Japanese. We learned particle to or ya, nouns, names for things and peoples and places, plus de, and adjectives, na adjective plus de, I adjective plus kute. You have to be careful. And then at the end, we had a slight look at verbs plus te form. For example, when we talk about I do this and do that. As an example, I listen to music and go to sleep. Or I wake up in the morning and read the news on smartphone. These kind of and, not connecting to words, but to different verbs, like different actions. So I listen to music, one action, and go to sleep, another action. So describing 2 different activities, putting together using and. So this way, for example, I listen to music, 音楽を聴く, and mass form, 聴きます. Go to sleep, 寝る, 寝ます. So you might want to say, I listen to music and go to sleep, 音楽を聴きますと寝ます. Because you know and is to. I wake up in the morning, 朝. I wake up, 起きる, 起きます. And read the news on smartphone. Smartphone in Japanese, スマートフォン, but abbreviation, スマホ. On smartphone, スマホで I read the news. ニュースを読みます. So you might want to say 朝起きます。そしてスマホでニュースを読みます。They are not too wrong, but not naturally said. Well, you are in intermediate class and you can construct many different sentences. You can do it more and more. And then by knowing this te form would make you even more pera, even more fluent, even more natural when you say these kind of sentences, which is like very normal, very natural expressions in daily conversations. How do we say this? Use te form. 音楽を聴きます。聴く in te form. 聴いて and then 寝ます。音楽を聴いて寝ます。Now you sound perfect. 朝起きます。そして you can say 朝起きてスマホでニュースを読みます。Wow, you sound better when you can get grip of this te form. When you learn te form, you can do a lot in Japanese expressions. For example, here, well, this time we will learn 3 functions of verbs plus te form, comma, dot, as connector. So, when you describe one action, and then after that, there continue some other sentences. So in this form, there are 3 functions, or 3 ways of saying 3 meanings. For example, and then, just like we've just seen in the examples, and how, like in the way of, by the way of, by blah blah ing, by doing something, or indicating some reasons, like because or as or since. For example, and then just like in the example, I listen to music and go to sleep. How or by doing something, I learned Japanese by using an app. Because or as or since, I'm sorry as I'm late. Well, these can be translated. For example, like number 2, how, or like by way of doing something, or because of it since. But in basic theory for us or for Japanese, it's the same theory, like and. For example, I learned Japanese by using an app. But in the thought of making Japanese sentences, we say, I use an app and learn Japanese. I'm sorry as I'm late. I'm late and I'm sorry for that. Well, this kind of structure we think in Japanese. So in some grammar books, it just only explains that this is just and. But it could be also translated and then blah, blah, how or by doing something or because and since in different nuance, different context. But in the very basic, at the bottom idea, that's basically the same. And then there are actually more than 20 ways of various expressions using verbs and Pairform. But here, we start with the very basic, important expressions, which is 3. Number 1, please do, blah, blah, blah. Number 2, must not. Number 3, may, as permission. As in examples. The first one, please do. So like, please speak slowly. Like when you want to ask a favor or like, just please do something. Number 2, must not. For example, you must not eat in the classroom. So prohibition, when you need to prohibit someone from doing something. And may as permission, may I go to the bathroom? Or you may do this and that and stuff. What verbs? Well, I expect you, by this class, you already know must form. So dictionary form and then must form. Let's have just a review here. There are 3 groups of verbs. Lu verbs, u verbs, and irregular verbs. Lu verbs, it's very simple when they conjugate, when they transform the form. So the dictionary form into the daily conversation form, like blah blah mas, blah blah sen. That's called conjugation, right? And then miru, to watch or to see. You just remove ru as in lu verbs. You just remove ru and replace it with mas as affirmative and masen, negative, right? Miru will be mimasu, mimasen. The same way, taberu, to eat, you just remove simply ru and replace it with mas, masen. Very easy. Ru verbs, very systematic, very logical. Miru, mimasu, mimasen, taberu, tabemasu, tabemasen. There is only one exception. Kaeru, kaeru, kaeru. To return, to go back, even though it ends with ru. This is not ru verb. Unfortunately, this is u verb, which will be explained now. U verbs. So instead of removing ru, you have to think about the vowels at the very last point. For example, hanasu, to speak. Hanasu, when they conjugate, when they transform. Hanashimasu. Hanashimasu, right? You have to remove the last u vowel and then put imasu. So hanasu, hanashimasu, hanasu, hanashimasen. To speak. Nomu, to drink. Nomimasu, nomimasen. Right. And irregular verbs. Just 2 of them. Kuru, to come. Kuru becomes kimasu and kimasen. Suru, to do. Shimasu, shimasen. That was just a review of must form. I hope you just refreshed your memory. And then we have to have a look at Pairform conjugation. Le verbs. Very simple. And irregular verbs, it's also logical as well. So we have a look at them first. Le verbs, dictionary form. For example, miru, to watch, to see. Miru, just replace ru with te. Mite. Taberu, to eat. Replace る with て。食べて、食べて。Easy. 簡単。Irregular verbs. Well, 来る to come, as long as you can remember, 来ます。You just replace ます with て。来ます、来て。する to do. Just remember します。And then replace ます with て。して。来る、来て。する、して。Well, Uverbs. Uverbs, they vary. They vary a lot. Think about run. It's not just simple ed at the end. When you think of learn, it's learned as in past tense. But run is irregular, just ran, right? And this kind of thing. There's, when you learn language, you just face this kind of time. So you can get through. Right, there, unfortunately, some of the groups. For example, 読む to read. 読む、遊ぶ to play. 死ぬ to die. These verbs. んで、んで、んで。読む、読んで。遊ぶ、遊んで。死ぬ、死んで。んで、んで、んで form. And then to the right, 会う to meet, to see people. 待つ to wait. 使う to use. 行く to go. These verbs. 会う、会って。待つ、待って。使う、使って。行く、行って。little つ and て。little つ and て。会って、待って、使って、行って。So this group. And at last. 聞く to hear or to listen. 泳ぐ to swim. 話す to speak, to talk. Sort of irregular. So just get used to it. 聞く to listen. 聞いて。泳ぐ to swim. 泳いで to speak, to talk. 話す。話して。Right. So it might sound tough. And there are some textbooks or some materials that you can maybe learn by singing, or you can see some rules, some regulations. But personally, I would think it's the best when you get used to it, like just by using, because they are, very often used. So that's why they have conjugated very differently. It's, people just use it all the time, right? So it just develops this way. So we use these verbs all the time. So instead of just trying to go deeper in the history or in the systems and the regulations and how you can remember them, you just keep using the phrases, keep practicing, and you get used to it. But you can always get back to these kind of charts or like a table and stuff whenever you don't remember them. So it's also a good idea. Okay, let's get back to the three functions we talked about. So in verbs plus tet form as connector. So when there is these tet form as in the sentences to connect to two or three or two more sentences. Three functions. And then I listen to music and go to sleep. I learn Japanese by using an app. I'm sorry, I'm late thing. Well, these in Japanese, using tet form. 音楽を聴いて寝ます. The first one. The second one, I learn Japanese by using an app. So I use an app. アプリを使う to use 使って。使って here. Here. 使って。I use an app and I learn Japanese. 日本語を勉強します。アプリを使って日本語を勉強します。You can also translate it as I learn Japanese by using an app. And I'm sorry I'm late. Well, in Japanese mind, I'm late and I'm sorry. So we start with to be late 遅れる and 手 form 遅れて遅れてすみません。遅れる is a verb, so you just simply remove る and replace it with て。遅れてすみません。Right. And then 3 basic expressions with 手 form. Please do something. Please speak slowly. Must not. You must not eat in the classroom. May I go to the bathroom? The first one. Slowly. ゆっくり to speak. 話す and 手 form 話して plus the pink one ください please and then you can make the sentence please speak slowly ゆっくり話してください You must not eat in the classroom. We start with classroom. In the classroom 教室で、eat 食べる You must not 食べて form 食べる食べて plus the pink part ブラブラはいけません No good いけません So 手 form plus はいけません That would be you must not or somebody must not May I go to the bathroom? May I go to the bathroom? The bathroom トイレ as the very basic wordトイレに to the bathroom トイレに to go 行く here 行く手 form 行って plus pink part もういいです blah blah もういいです and then you may and in this sentence it's a question so か at the end so トイレに行ってもいいですかトイレに行ってもいいですか And then you can make these sentences which can be really often used in daily conversations, right? So we can briefly just review what we have talked today because it's confusing. 3 groups of verbs. 手 form, verb 手 form. る verb, irregular verbs, just replace る or ます with 手. Uverbs, different, like this. And then you get through these very like more natural speaking, more pera fluent speaking, and you can make or convey lots of fun conversation with Japanese. I hope you liked it. Good, that's it. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. お疲れ様でした. If you want to practice Japanese with us and meet your new classmates, you're more than welcome to join us. Okaeri SCHOOL.